Welcome to the Mental Edge. As men, we pledge to live on the edge, to discuss all things we love about being men with an infectious transparency that's laced with just the right amount of man humor.
If you're on a journey to self-development and improvement, if you're a seeker of truth or want to find fulfillment and purpose while crafting a brave and successful version of what God has for you, then the Mental Edge is for you. Headset you use on an airplane.
Yeah,
we got bows on there.
Oh yeah, he said it would be funny if we could have hooked him up in his original Embry-Riddle.
Huh? That's tiny. The ones we use now.
Oh,
the tiny little headset. Yeah, because it's so quiet up there.
Oh,
it's quiet.
Yeah, I'm old school, man.
It's not a prop anymore.
That's right. Tyrus went from props for fun to Top Gun. It's true, like all the engine noises back by the wing. That's funny. Yeah. I'll tell you what, the first time Tyrus took me up in a plane, I felt like I was in a freaking mailbox.
We are go for liftoff.
I told him, hey, dude, this was cool, but it's cool if it's the last time, too, you know? It was awesome.
You went on a little, like, puddle jumper type
Yeah,
ones?
man. It was very, very, very cool.
My first time in a puddle jumper was from Pennsylvania to Chicago. And I just remember...
that's smaller than that.
Small.
Oh,
like
yeah.
4 seats.
Oh, yeah.
4 seats.
Like, Missy was dang there on my lap.
This one's a little bigger, but there was like holes in the plane, and I'm like, and every time you hit a cloud, like you just drop.
Oh yeah, that's where turbulence is at. It seems like.
It was crazy, man.
In the cloud.
It was crazy.
It was cool though. He took us to a little exclusive little place in the Keys that you can only get to by air.
Oh, really?
Right? I felt like I was a baller. It was so cool.
And then Judy picked us up in the minivan.
Judy's landing strip pickup service. How can I help you?
Oh, hey, Judy, it's Tyrus. I was wondering if you could pick us up and take us into town.
I'll be right there, sugar bear.
It's like, Judy, I'm like, so there's a whole procedure for this cool little exclusive area or island where you just call the lady in the minivan named Judy and she picks you up.
That's awesome, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's really
I loved
cool.
it.
I mean, so I was single for like 5 years. I couldn't imagine being an airplane pilot.
I know, what a life, right?
Look, he has a smirk on his face. He has a smirk on his face like, yeah.
By the way, all this will be on the podcast. The stuff we talked about before, Tyrus won't be, but definitely from the time we started talking about flying.
Yeah.
And that is some of the stuff we want to talk about today. But first, what we're going to say is we're going to say who we are, and we're going to talk about what this TV show is, all right? Because it is now a TV show as well.
It is.
So your handsome mug is going to be up on the YouTube, which it already is in many places, I'm sure. But my name is Jay Casey.
I'm Fernando Lopez Jr.
Tyrus Joseforsky.
And this is
the Mental Edge Podcast.
And then there'll be some freaking cool music, much like Tyrus used to play in high school. And we'll get to that.
What?
Welcome to the Mental Edge. Because I know Tyrus a little bit, so we'll talk about some of the past that I've known him for a long time. So, but anyway, Tyrus, which I sometimes call you T-Bone. Why do you think we wanted to pull you in here today?
Just making a difference in the community here in the local area. Man.
Yeah, this kid is well versed.
Yeah, nice.
You are making a huge impact, Tyrus, because you're doing something on the regular that people 5 years ago would have said is impossible.
It's impossible.
And it's not impossible, at least not if you're a grinder, and that's what you are. And that's exactly why we wanted to have you on the show. And plus because there's some stupid, exciting things about to happen. And about to happen, hopefully, more on the regular because of what you're doing. And all of that stuff, which is going to make way more sense as we progress in the episode.
Yeah.
All right. So, but yeah, thanks for joining us today, Tyrus. And you fit right into the model of men that we want in that seat. Right. Even though You're substantially younger than most, which is also kudos to you.
And by the time he's the age of some of the guys that sat in this chair, he will have lived like 8 men's lives.
I know, man.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the truth. Junior's right. He's on to something.
Early. He's going. He's going places. So I'm really excited to get a chance to chat with you. I know Jay speaks highly of you, and he sometimes lets me know some of the things that you're up to. And I saw a post that he made that said, I'm officially able to rent a car. Yeah, I can fly a plane, but I can fly. They let me fly a plane, but like today, I'm officially able to, to rent a car. And I thought that was really cool. I was like, man.
Yeah, that puts things into perspective. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And Tyrus, tell us a little bit about. Are you able to tell us a little bit about you biographically, personally about your life, like who are you, and people from the community, they know who you are and they know what you're in. We're going to make sure that stuff gets mentioned, but like, where'd you come from? Where'd you grow up? Just like a couple little.
Yeah, so I grew up here in Hobart. It's hometown. Well, actually, take that back. I grew up in Maryville for a little bit until we moved here to Hobart. But always been a local guy, region guy. I want to support the region, no matter where I'm at in the world. So even when I was down in Daytona, I was always wanting to find a way to give back to the region if I could. So
yeah, Daytona. Now, what
took you to Daytona?
What launched you into Daytona?
That was the pilot career, man.
Oh,
that's where it all started.
That's where it all started.
That's where it all started. So I wanted to be an airline pilot since I was 5 years old. Always, that was my favorite part of vacations, was to travel. So if we drove to a vacation, I wasn't happy because I wanted to fly.
You wanted to fly?
That's it. That's all I wanted to do.
He was getting gypped.
Yeah.
So,
right?
That's
We're
really
driving.
Cool.
But I was so busy with sports growing up that I had no chance to really pursue that until I had to make a decision between sports and flying. So I knew I always wanted to fly, but I didn't actually get to until high school was over.
So sports and flying, what was your main sport that you played? Did you play
So baseball, I played baseball pretty much my whole life. I played most of them growing up, but baseball is what I focused on once I got to high school. And we're pretty good. There's no doubt about it. We had a good squad, really all the way through since we were little kids. And then once we got to high school, that all came together.
Yes. Which I think was
8 years in the making.
Grandmaster plan, and Tyrus was a big part of that plan. He was the anchor. He was a stellar middle infielder. And as much as I had seen Tyrus play baseball many times, as much as I enjoyed him at the plate, his defense too was many hours. Tyrus, people invested in you, like a particular coach and your father, and Tyrus was never one of those kids since I've known him that would ever be like, nah, I don't want to practice.
Wow.
Like a lot of kids today, you have to pry their controller out of their cold dead hand.
Right.
Yeah, they had to pry us to come inside.
Hit the record button.
That's a big difference.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I agree.
The world has changed a lot.
You know, we had pretty successful career in sports growing up, and I know it was really hard to for me. You know, I admire this about you, and knowing the little that I know about you is, you know, it was really hard for me to figure out what I wanted and to do early on. Mm-hmm. And so I ended up doing a lot of other things, right? And really not focusing in on my calling, even though I knew like what I was supposed to do and what, you know, and so kudos, and man, that's awesome that you were able to figure that out at a young age.
I just got lucky, man.
You did.
At the end of the day, I just got lucky that
I call it self-awareness. That's what I call it.
I don't know if I can.
Yeah.
That's his theory is luck.
Yeah.
Please embellish.
Yeah.
I would love to hear it.
I wanna hear luck. Go ahead.
I got
Let's
lucky
do
in
that.
the sense that I did find my calling very early on.
Awesome.
Not that
Awesome.
it takes a lot of work, and that wasn't luck, but
Right.
to actually recognize what did I want
What
to
it
do,
was,
to come
yeah.
across it so young, I was super lucky. Because there's plenty of pilots I fly with who love flying, that's their calling, but they didn't start till they were 30 years old because they didn't figure it out until then. They were doing different things, you know, flying. I got lucky in the sense of timing because so many pilots, you know, they became pilots right around 9/11. Okay. Well, what happened at 9/11, obviously, you know, the airlines went down the drain for a long time. Right. A lot of those guys went and started doing other things. I flew with one guy who he became an engineer. Okay. And he was making $150,000 as an engineer. He goes, why am I going to go back to flying where I'm going to be gone half the month and make $50,000. You know, at the time, that's how it was. So he actually came back to flying once the industry got good again. Gotcha. But there was a lot of people who fell into that, I'll say that trap that had no fault of their own. You know, it was simply timing. I got super lucky with timing. You know, I'm just very grateful about that. So
sounds like he did good in a lot of different things, and timing played a factor, right?
Yeah.
Timing magnified it.
Put your hands together.
Timing magnified it. That's a good point.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
I did Google how many pilots we have currently in the United States as of 2019. It's like 660,000.
Wow.
Which
we're like 0.0001% of the population. It's very few. You don't know many.
No, very few. That's one of the things I was like, man, there's not like
that's insane. That's insanely low percentage.
Well, there's a lot that goes into that. You know, I'm sure there's a lot more people who would want to become pilots, but you know, foremost is obviously money. You know, there's a lot of people who aren't as fortunate, who just don't have the means to become pilots. And luckily there's a lot of programs out there now that are starting to, help those people become pilots and push them along. In my instance, we kind of were in a rough spot because, we're a middle-class family where we don't qualify for any aid.
Right.
But we also don't make enough to just pay for it, So we got stuck with a lot of loans, and that's one option you could go. But and then you take the money out of it, and then there's all the work that goes into it. Thousands and thousands of hours of flying and training and studying, and that's not for everyone. Yeah.
It probably helped that you were in Florida, right, away from all this that you have going on here? Did you help you focus a little more?
Well, one, the weather. Okay. Obviously, the weather helps you fly a lot more because the weather's nice most of the year.
Things
it's not snowing.
Even think about. That's awesome.
Incredible, right?
Yeah. So that's why Florida does really well with flying. Okay. And then, I was pretty much down there by myself. I didn't have really any family, and had to make new friends down there. I didn't go down there with any friends. Yeah. So I would definitely say that that's a good and a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's good in the fact that, you are engulfed in it, but it's also, you need that support system.
Right.
So you have to try and find that.
That's so insightful,
cool.
right?
It is.
But he didn't have both, so he chose to stay focused, which is one of his superpowers anyway.
Something I didn't do in college.
Yeah.
It kind of worked out as I wanted to come home so bad that I just wanted to get done.
Absolutely brilliant.
As quick as I possibly
Isn't that
could.
Awesome?
Dude.
Yeah, and he did.
Perspective is everything, right? That's awesome.
Well, and then
That's
also
incredible.
looking back to perspective is if I didn't do that and I did the normal 4-year program, or most people who go down to where I went to school, it's about 6 years between when you start and when you get to the airlines. I got there in 3. And looking back, if I didn't do that, even if it was just a year delayed, I would not be where I'm at today because look what happened with COVID. I would not be at Spirit. I would still be at Republic. I'd probably be a first officer at Republic, and who knows when I would have ever got the chance to move on. It could be 5-10 years from now. Wow. So timing's everything.
It is.
You just got to try and put yourself in the best position possible.
Yeah. Which it sounds like you did.
Yeah, he did.
To the best of my ability.
Yeah, to the best of your ability, right? Well, it takes effort and grind and everything that Jay was talking about earlier. So
yeah, he's got them all.
This is my first time hearing this, so it's kind of
very interesting stuff.
Super interesting.
And I think we're gonna see that exact same character trait.
Yeah.
Which has been present in Tyrus for as long as I can remember having known him. Even he was an organizer at a very young age.
Right.
When kids would...
What's that mean?
So let me explain something to you. He'd be 11, 12 years old, and there would be tournaments at the park, and Tyrus would have a trophy. He would be running the tournament, he'd be in the tournament, and he'd be awarding the tournament.
No.
This is not a fabrication or an embellishment.
Right.
I used to run a summer-long baseball league. I had teams, we had stats, we had scorekeepers, we had umpires, I had foul poles in the backyard. I mean, it was nuts. I ran a website. It was a website. You could go on the website, and it was all the scores and records. And
sorry. I didn't have coffee on my nose. I would have spit coffee right out of my nose. People are thinking about, God bless your 12-year-old. He's okay. But there might be some indicators that he's going to be better than okay, and that is one of them.
Right.
It was a lot of fun
going on.
I love that, man.
I always got to be doing something. I've been like that since I was a little kid. If I'm not doing something, my mind's just turning of what am I up to next? What can I do next? How can I better myself or better the people around me, whatever it is?
I do see it in your eyes. I've never said that before, but for the last few months that I've known you or seen you around, there's an intensity about even your silence, right? There's always an intensity. And I mentioned that to Jay earlier. I was like, he seems a little quiet. And then here I am in this, talking to you in this interview, and he's just like, yep, all cylinders going. Let's get this going, right? So I love that.
That was cool because then Junior said, what I noticed is when Tyrus gets engaged in conversation about something that he's passionate about, he almost becomes a different person from the person that is just a good hang and kind of just chilling. Yeah. Like once he gets into that vein of thought, it's like he's throwing out off the dome, making Kanye look like a bum. Right. He's just pow, 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 pow.
I wish I could rhyme like that.
That is the truth, right? Well, you're rhyming in a different medium. Yep. That's for sure.
Different dimension, yeah. So that's awesome. So another little tidbit fact, I read a book one time that said it was talking about first and only borns. Mm. You know how many pilots are first and only borns? About approximate? Over 85%.
I believe that.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Pilots are their own breed. They're their own breed of people. If you meet pilots, pretty much they're all pretty similar. They all have similar, just little things about them. Just because it does take a special person to get through the training that it's required to get. Well, and then think about it, you're gone from your family half the month. Yeah. That alone takes a special person to be okay with that, and not I'm not saying it's great, that part sucks of the job. Yeah. You're going to miss kids' baseball games, you're going to miss Christmas, but that something has to get you through that. For most people, it's the passion of flying. They just love it, so they wouldn't want to do anything else.
And that's the passion he talked about.
Yeah,
There's no way I could sit behind a desk. I would lose it. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, well, I doubt as much as he would be very well suited for any administrative position at any major airline. Right. What he's done is he's created himself a whole other entity to manage, which is really one of the main reasons, Tyrus, why we wanted to pull you in here. If there's more pilot statistics, please fire them out. But I think I really want to migrate into the conversation, into the area or the realm of how you became enamored with the music industry, saw some potential, a market opportunity, and then just started. I don't know if you're stabbing in the dark, you're asking questions, you're bumping into people. You never let a good opportunity to mine data from somebody pass, Tyrus. And one of those moments, you had one of those moments with a co-pilot, right?
Oh, yeah. That's kind of how it all started. So originally it started, I was just flying with a guy. It was late at night. We were talking, and he mentioned that he was a musician, and he was a country artist, just up and coming. And, he's playing shows, and a light bulb just went in my head. I was like, shows, playing concerts. And I was like, that's kind of something I've always been interested in, because I used to DJ as a little kid. I've loved...
Wait a second.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get there. Oh, okay, all right, go ahead.
So I've always loved the music, and I've loved seeing people come together. There's something it's euphoric, seeing people come together for one common cause, and music is a great reason to come together. Yeah. So that's kind of how a light bulb just went off in my head. And I was just thinking, what can I do? How can I do it? And as a pilot, you're gone half the month, but you're also home half the month. Right. You don't go to work, you're just sitting at home all day, doing whatever, chores, whatnot. And this gave me something to do on my time off because, like I said, I always had to be doing something. My mind's always running. So this keeps me very busy. That's for sure.
Sounds a lot like Home Run Derby.
Isn't that cool, though? I mean, he just has really So another one of his superpowers is he just starts asking. Believe me, I've known Tyrus for a long time. His asking questions, it's intense. Okay. Now he's a man now, so he understands, right? Yeah. How to, do that tactfully. Yeah. So, but he's a very fast learner. So he's mining data, thinking about what's possible. Tyrus, many people, they stop right there. They dream about possibilities. They gather information, but then they hit a roadblock. You don't really hit roadblocks that you're afraid of. They're kind of like, I think of it like a guy on a dirt bike just jumping the next 5 hills that he should be going over. That's kind of how you hit him at full speed. That's awesome. So you had to come up with a plan, and I bet, Tyrus, people were like, well, that can't be done here. Like, you can't. But there's no, if that could have been done, someone certainly would have already done it. Right. And there you sit with the yoke in your hand, you know, waiting for O'Hare to be like, "Yeah, you can find. We're on the way, Fortnite." And he's like, "Well, I guess I'll just start sending some emails."
Yeah. Well, it all started talking with Huddleston. You know, I think you had Josh on the show.
We sure did. We love the HUDs.
That's how it started. Was I knew HUD from since I was a little kid. He used to be a coach at some of the camps that I was at, and he's a councilman now. So I reached out to him. I was like, "Hey, man, I want to talk with you about something." And he goes, "Absolutely, Josh is super forward thinking and wants to improve the community." And I was like, "Hey, I've got this crazy idea," and he goes, "I love it, man."
What's the idea? People want to know.
People are like, well, who is this? By the way, this is Tyrus Joseforsky. He is a full-time first mate pilot.
First officer
for Spirit Airlines.
Awesome.
Loves his job. He is also the owner and CEO of Levelz Entertainment.
That's it.
And
what they bring?
Incredible.
What they bring to Hobart?
What did they bring to Hobart?
Yeah.
Well, they brought the beginning. The series was originally named what, Tyrus?
Well, it was the Hometown Country Jam. That was the first major show. Yeah. So I kind of did it opposite.
Right. Please do all the rules out. He follows all the rules in the plane, but this is different.
Yeah. You know, in business, to be successful, you know, I mean, there's set rules, but the people who really change the world and change the way business is done are the ones who create their own rules.
Absolutely brilliant.
You know, do their own thing.
Like
so in concerts, you know, most people start small. They're just like, hey, let's do a tiny little show at a theater or in a backyard or whatever, just to get the ball rolling.
We're laughing
this
because...
this is the first time I hear this.
Dude.
So I'm so invested right now in this. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to have a major festival.
Go big
a major
go
music
home,
festival. And that...
I didn't know that, so I'm thinking he did start like doing little shows.
No.
And I thought this was part of like the whole home run derby tournament.
Well, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
he started at 12 at the park.
I
Then the next thing was a major... Tyrus, I want to tell you, I think there was one disconnect.
Okay.
There was one disconnect, and when you started, nobody understood the scale of what you were doing until they walked over and looked down in that hole of the Bricky Bowl and said, "Oh my God, have aliens landed in Hobart?" This stage, you guys.
I don't think people realize we were bringing $250,000 worth of production in there.
$250,000 worth of production.
And this is what you started with.
And that was day one.
That's day one. All right, go ahead. Keep going. All right. No more. I'm not interrupting. Go ahead.
And there's definitely, let me make no mistake, I made tons of mistakes looking back. You know, but that's the thing is, in my opinion, the most successful people are the ones who can learn from their mistakes and not make them twice. You know, I can look back at all those things and go, well, I lost money on this didn't sell tickets, or this was a waste of money, or I should have spent more money on this. And that's how we make the future events better.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, man. So you started with the massive, what year was this?
That was 2019.
2019
was the first show. Yeah, I started planning in 2018. It was about a year's worth of planning to get everything together. Yeah, so I pretty much.
Are you a pilot at this time?
Yeah. So I was fine. I mean, I was.
Well, I know you said that like half the time you're flying, the other half you're at home. I get all that, but I mean.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, we're sitting in cruise. I got my notebook.
Yeah.
Drawing the venue, thinking about.
Oh yeah, that's crazy, right?
Reaching out to the councilman and oh my goodness, man. So how did it work out from the councilman level to?
So it started with Josh, who then connected me with the mayor and the city events director, Nikki Lopez, and the parks, Kelly. And then we all got together, and I slapped down an 84-page plan, and I said, this is what I want to do. And they said, they kind of flipped through, they go, okay.
Like, look, man, he intimidated him with volume.
Yeah.
It was real.
No, it was 84 pages of intense planning. I mean, that was weeks and weeks of you know, researching different events and what these events do, and that's kind of how I've learned everything in my life. Is even when I was DJing, it started with I would sit in the DJ booth and watch every DJ, and I would go, I like that, I don't like that, I like that, I like that, and I would combine it into my own.
All right.
So I do that with everything, whether it's
when you were a DJ.
Oh, well,
this is young.
Yeah, let's go back a little bit, but we're gonna stay on task. But let's understand, because I feel like people need to know that even as you were an elite athlete and a stellar student,
yes,
you had a part-time gig DJing in Chicago as a teenager because your parents were crazy. Okay.
I would literally we'd have a baseball game on a Friday night. We'd get done at 7 p.m. I'd get in the car and go to the club in Chicago to DJ.
It takes a special. There's no way that normal kids could get away with that without going to jail at least a few times. So kudos to you. And what you did was there was a special spirit about you, like a sense of navigation and understanding how things go that provided like some peace where it didn't make any sense that there would be peace. Let me just say that. I mean, that's obvious in the way that he lives his life right now. You know,
it's funny I became a pilot because even growing up, I was always a driver. I was always the DD, whatever it was. I was always transporting people, you know, and that's what I've always liked to do. Like I just liked, you know, whether it's getting people from point A to point B or helping people, being there for people, or just being there with your friends, you know, whether you may not do the stuff they do, but you're kind of just controlling them, you know, making sure they don't go a little too crazy.
Which is another characteristic of a first or only born.
Absolutely. He's directing. I mean, now we're not knocking his friends, but like the shepherd of the sheeple. No. He's kind of guiding. Yeah. He's always a guiding force. Yeah. Right?
Well, it also comes down to like wanting to take care.
That's good. That's true too. A little bit of heart there. That's right.
Yeah, it's a lot of heart.
That's exactly right,
really,
Junior.
Really, a lot of like older siblings want to look over their younger siblings. Mm-hmm. Even if you don't have any siblings and you're a solo,
it's innate though, right? It's
just something that's built in you to take care of. So I get it. That makes sense.
That's incredible.
I'm the oldest. Are you the oldest?
I am the oldest.
Okay. We got three oldest here.
Yep.
You know how many presidents were the youngest?
None.
About 5 or 6.
Yeah.
You know how many were the oldest or only child for pretty much the rest of them.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy, right?
Yeah. That is pretty freaking crazy. So here,
and I wonder if that comes back to parenting as well. You know, when you're the oldest or the only one, that's your parents' first time too, right? Yeah. So they're on it, you know, they are focused, locked in. And I wonder if parents get a little lax with the younger one as well.
I think part of it has
and kind of let them get away with a little more or whatever. Well, I don't know.
Yeah. I think that cyclically like this, the middle one, they're like that. They relax. Like, that sucked. I can never do that again. Then if they have a third one, they kind of return a little bit back to the nurture side, and that's why the little one lacks the discipline of the first one sometimes, but gets all of the benefits of the parents who are more affluent typically by the time the kid is, right? Yeah. So the situation to spoil the youngest one is there financially and behaviorally.
Yeah.
And that's funny, but so you were.
I got to hear more about the DJ. You get in your car, you drive out there.
So I drive out there. So it all starts. And I when I look back in my life, I don't know how I get into the situations I get in. They make no sense at all.
Because you're blessed, young man. So let's just leave it at that, but go ahead.
Just a couple of our friends, you know, we were out there. It was kind of like a teen place or whatnot. And we're hanging out, and sure enough, the owners are just sitting out there basically in the parking lot. Okay. And we're walking in, and one of my buddies is talking, and they're like, oh, you know, we're the owners or whatnot. He goes, this guy's a DJ, you know, because I had started to just mess around in the basement with some stuff. Yeah. And they're like, oh, no way, you know. Yeah. And it kind of started as, you know, they kind of just wanted to say, oh, you know, bring your people from Hobart, you know, because they wanted to expand their business. Right. Started as that. And then when the first time I went there and we did that, it went so well. They're like, well, you got to keep coming back, man. Right. So I was like, okay, you know. So at first it was a monthly thing. You know, I was like, okay, come back once a month. And then, you know, I was fortunate in the fact of two of the older DJs who had been there for a while, seniority, whatever, had stepped down. Okay. So there was some openings. And me and this other guy, we ended up filling that spot, stepping up. And it's just crazy how you work your way up from nothing, you know. And once again, whether that's timing, whether that's chance, whether that's putting yourself in the right position at the right time.
I like that.
It's just crazy how that happens.
It's the recognition of opportunity, Tyrus, and that's your 19th superpower.
Yeah. I heard before, like, strike while the iron's hot. I feel like I hear that also.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't have to come back that second time. You know what I'm saying? But you recognized, and you're like, hey, the iron's hot right now, and you went for it. And I think that's really cool. So how do you feel like being the DJ plays into being the guy throwing the party?
Yeah.
Well, I'd say it was one, just the love of, I mean, when I say euphoric, it really was, you know. And I never drank in high school. I never got into drugs or anything like that. Right. But when the music was blaring and you could feel the bass through your veins and you see people jumping to something you're doing, there is something truly euphoric about that. I mean, it's addicting. It really is.
That's crazy.
So I love that, and I love that feeling. Okay. So once DJing, I got older and was moving on to different things, and DJing got kind of
flying planes,
like flying airplanes, and DJing got put to the side. I still have that addiction to seeing people enjoy something I'm doing, putting on something that they're enjoying, and that's where the festival came from.
Wow.
And it started out as a country series initially, and it was bigger than people understood. And here you are, though. Here's the thing. I want to revisit something else real quick, Tyrus. Okay, so you got the town to believe in you. First of all, you got a relationship with the town. Everybody knew Tyrus Joseforsky, number one. And he was number one because he wore it and because he was number one. I'm just telling you from watching him. I always felt that way. But anyway, now you get that. You get Huddleston to believe in you. You get the mayor to believe in you because you overwhelm them with a real. By the way, he don't know how to make an 84-page report. He has to Google how to do that. He has to learn that. He's learning how
to Google and YouTubing.
Yeah, he's YouTubing. He's Googling, right? Now, guess what? You got to have people perform, right? These people get let down all the time. So they're not just going to say, sure, we'll come to your event. They got to make money too. They don't want to get locked into some first-time event thrower, right?
How do you even get hold of these people?
Here we go.
Just start sending emails, man.
Seriously?
Start making phone calls. No, I mean, there's the big agencies everyone knows about. And like Jay said, they get calls randomly all the time, I'm sure, just from, people saying, oh, come play in my backyard, or whatever it is. So you got to make them believe in you. Somehow you have to convince them that you're for real. And something I've always been decent at is forming relationships with people, whether that's over the phone, whether that's texting, making them believe in you. So one of the first agents that I got to know was an agent at CAA, and his name was Brian Waymeyer. And we used to sit, and I would talk to him for an hour on the phone. And
you just met him on the phone. You just called him up.
Just called him and we would just talk, and it didn't have to be about booking concerts. We just genuinely became friends. Okay. So he started to believe in me. And for most agencies, you got to get that first show under your belt. That's why that first show is so important, so that they're like, okay, this guy's legit. Now you don't have to put 100% money down up front, or now they're believing in you that, hey, they're not going to get ripped off. Right. But you have to do that at first. You have to over deliver.
Please listen carefully.
Over deliver in a sense.
That's a great. Tyrus, thank you for that term.
I love that.
Because a lot of people are looking for early compensation. You get it. There's an investment, and there's a serious cost associated with the investment, and it might not add up as apples to apples in the beginning, right? Yeah. You have to basically sell yourself, and you delivered, Tyrus, and you delivered despite terrible weather.
Oh, there's a whole other discussion behind how that first event went. To the public, it went fantastic. Behind the scenes, it was fire after fire we were putting out. Whether that was there's thunderstorms coming through, we have to evacuate the venue, we're worrying about the venue flooding. I mean, there was
dude.
There was a million things that happened that day.
Bill's known for that, right?
It is known.
They're actually that is not as big of a concern anymore because the city did some construction on bridges and opened the waterways up. But it was a 3-day nightmare.
Non-stop, no sleep.
Non-stop. Oh, we didn't. I don't think I ate one meal in 3 days. Just because once again so basically I plan and do all of the events by myself. And then I bring my team in to actually execute the events. And my team is basically a group of pilots.
I'm starting to notice a trend.
Isn't
that awesome?
They're all pilots. And there's a reason behind that is because in the air, when things go wrong, you may not always have the answer. But if you mess up, if you don't know what to do, people die. It's just that simple. You have to find a way to save the day. You have to find a way to do whatever it is that needs to get done to get everyone on the ground safely.
That's deep.
And the concerts, there's no different.
That's crazy.
It's no different, except hopefully people don't die, but it's no different because there is always. I mean, I remember at the Uncle Kracker show, our breakers kept tripping. I mean, there's just one thing after another. At the festival, it was you got vendors who aren't showing up on time. You have, I mean, there's 1.5 million things that could go wrong.
Yeah.
During a major,
and you're just,
during a major event.
Yeah.
And I believe in my team. I would literally just say, go figure it out. I don't care how you do it, just do it.
Get it done.
And they would, because that's in them.
That's awesome. So Tyrus brings in people with solutions, not people who come and bring the problem to him. They come and say, well, here's how we solved it.
It's funny, still to this day, we'll be talking, and they'll bring up stuff that happened during that event that I have no idea about. They're like, oh, I completely
how awesome is that?
I forgot to tell you about that.
Yeah. Well, most likely a bunch of firstborns, right? And in a book I read, they had a bunch of firstborns walk into a room. They had an instructor come in, lay a bunch of sheets of paper on the front desk, and walk out. Yeah. They did the same thing with a bunch of lastborns, right?
Yeah.
Any lastborns, don't think I'm picking on you. It's just this is data.
It's looking pretty bleak for you guys, but
so they do the same thing with a whole group of thirdborns. We'll just say third, right? So they come in, 15 minutes go by. The firstborns are all looking through the sheets to figure out what to do next. Right? The lastborns are all having a comedy show in the room.
Wow.
You get it? Like, they're entertaining but each other. They don't even care about what the instructor put on the desk. I feel like that applies to bringing all those pilots, which are probably all firstborns, right?
Or firstborn-esque. Like those threads are in their life.
Yeah, because you could...
There's anomalies.
There's anomalies. Like, my sister's an anomaly,
she is.
right?
She's incredible, yes.
But she's an anomaly because she's the firstborn female.
Yes.
And she's the firstborn of her and Gabriel.
Yeah.
I'm not officially get it, but
that's it. Yeah.
She didn't really know that until later on in life.
Yeah.
But it's something that's inherently like put in them, right?
That's right.
So I don't know. I get it, man. That's pretty awesome though that he brings a bunch of pilots to do the work.
So think about that though.
Or implement the.
I mean, even that. When people walk into this massive festival, there's 5 people running that whole thing.
Holy smokes.
It's crazy.
Is the guy that you originally talked to about throwing, or like kind of gave you a little bit about, is he part of that group?
No. He lives in I think Illinois somewhere. Right. But
so he was just somebody.
He was just someone who lit a light bulb off in my head.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Isn't that awesome?
But and those 5 people have become my best friends. Over the last 2 years because we all have a common goal. To put these events on for people. Yeah. And going back to just the fires, I mean, I don't think people realize the magnitude of being in the middle of a festival and seeing a line of thunderstorms coming right towards you. The planning that's going behind all of that. I remember sitting in this like RV style thing, this operations office that we had that our security group brought in, and we just, what are we gonna do? Yeah. We had an evacuation plan, but you never want to execute it.
No.
Then we, got with the police department, said, hey, this is what we need to do. This is coming. And as soon as that first wind gust hit, it was like clockwork. Boom, doors open. We got everyone evacuated into the gym. Yeah. We had no injuries. Pretty much everyone was super supportive. Wow. Almost no complaints for the situation. Yeah. Yeah. It went as well as it ever could have. Yeah. I've never seen an evacuation go so well in my life. Wow. And it was just... I don't even know how to explain it.
It turned into something incredibly sentimental too.
Yep.
Because, first of all, I just want to say this: these artists are coming to the region.
Yeah.
Flight Levelz, Tyrus, and his team are bringing these artists to the region, and they're falling in love with the region.
Yeah.
Okay. They're finding out that this is and this is what he already knew, and that he wanted to tap into, right? So he brings all these people into this gymnasium,
right?
And waiting on
just sitting around, a 2-hour rain delay. And I remember going, and Fillmore was supposed to go on next, and I remember going and talking to him, and I'm like, man, I'm sorry, I'm sorry your set's out, we got a 2-hour rain delay, we got to get on to the headliner after the rain delay. And he goes, well, let's give these people something to remember.
No way.
And I'm like, what do you want to do, man? And his manager's like, looking around, and he goes, sees an acoustic guitar, he goes, well, he just goes and plays an acoustic set for these people in the gym. And it was like kumbaya in there, man. Everyone was clapping and singing, and it turned into something crazy.
Tyrus, because of the spirit of what you're doing. Yeah. Hey, women love this guy Fillmore. like they love him. They're sitting 6 inches from him now. Not 16, 20, 30, 40 feet.
Right.
He is letting them sit at his feet while he is playing a guitar, what feels like in their back freaking yard.
Wow.
You can't make it any better. You can't take something that was going to be bad and make it any better.
Yeah. The only mistake we made is we didn't have a PA. He was just kind of playing his acoustic guitar in this big gym, and you couldn't really hear him that well, but people were just loving it, you know, that he was there.
Yeah.
So, but that's something we learned, and now we have a spare PA set aside ready to go.
Ready to go.
Just in case.
Wow. Man. And just under pressure, too. Like, thinking of things under pressure, like... That's kind of cool. That wasn't in the plan, though, was it?
No. No, that was on the fly.
That was on the fly.
And that's most of the things I do in life end up being on the fly. It's like, it's like
but
people...
But it doesn't seem like that, does it?
It doesn't, but...
For the user, it doesn't.
Yeah.
But for me, like, when people go into interviews, they always sit and they prep, right? Or they know they have... one of my favorite stories ever is when we were in college. Yeah. And it was this class where basically it was presentations on different airlines. Okay. And... my buddies and I, we're sitting in the back of class, hanging out, kicking it. And the teacher lists off all the people who are supposed to go today. And we're the last one. And we all look at each other. Oh. We're like, we missed this memo.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So we got everyone to convince, all the other groups, like, we have to go last. And they're like, okay, whatever. Right. So during this whole class, we are sitting there on all our laptops in one Google Docs PowerPoint, typing like madmen to get this PowerPoint together.
Right.
And it ends up being the best PowerPoint of the whole class. Everyone started coming up to us, and they were like, we learned so much from that PowerPoint. It was the best one of the day. And we're like looking at each other, smirking. But it's crazy. Like, that's ends up how a lot of stuff ends up going. I don't like to prepare for interviews. I don't like to, when I have to give a speech or talk to a classroom, like, I just go in and do it.
Yeah.
And it just happens. It just flows.
Like today when we walk in, he's laying on the couch, legs kicked up.
Ready.
Like, Jay sent me the notes, but I just didn't look at them.
Yeah. Those are for us, by the way.
Yeah, those are for us.
And we were never worried. And I want to say this, like, you described your ability to perform in the moment and do it flawlessly, but you still prepare. That skill comes to you with a great advantage when things don't go according to your plan. Because you do. It's clear when we're at your events that everything is being pulled off flawlessly for the people who are experiencing it and the people who are performing. And man, Tyrus, some of these shows, you guys, like, I gotta say this, like, what Shane has done to the art, which you notice, you're like, wow, I can start bringing these people in. Why does it have to be a special event? Like, Tyrus, Porter County Fair is doing something great. LaPorte County Fair is doing something great, but it's isolated within a specific date and for an event. You're making this a logical extension of the Chicago market.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
I want to make Northwest Indiana next Tinley Park. That's my long-term goal. And yeah, like, don't get me wrong. Like, I am obsessive about planning. I plan every last detail.
I was going to say that just for a second. I'm going to interrupt. Because you overplan, you don't have to prepare for the interview because you've been planning.
It's just
for
done.
Your whole life you've been preparing. It's the truth. That's the spirit of the truth right there.
I was listening to you guys talking. I'm like, wait. I mean, the whole thing is because he does over prepare. So you've been preparing. I apologize. Yeah. So Tinley Park.
No, but yeah, I'd like to make Northwest Indiana a destination for live music. There's so much here. I mean, a lot of people don't realize there's 1 million people in this 25 square mile area in Northwest Indiana. Wow. I mean, no, it's not the Chicago market. Chicago, there's 5 million people in a square mile. It's crazy. But there's a lot of potential here. Yeah. There's also comes with Northwest Indiana comes with a lot of disadvantages when it comes to bringing live music here that nobody, the regular person wouldn't think about because they just don't know radius clauses and routing artists. People think that Northwest Indiana and Chicago are so close that they can just route the artist Northwest Indiana on Thursday, Chicago on Friday. It doesn't work like that. It's too close. You're in the radius clauses. Yeah. That venue's not going to approve them to do an event here because they can draw from here. Gotcha. Chicago can draw from Northwest Indiana. Right. 95% of our ticket sales are from Northwest Indiana. We don't draw from Chicago. Mm-hmm. We're dedicated to Northwest Indiana. Yeah. That's awesome, where all of our money and advertising goes.
Yeah, that's really neat. So the name, is it synonymous with only bringing country artists to?
So that's how it started.
Okay.
And that's why I changed it. That's why I went to the Hometowns Jams branding because I thought I was like...
So it was Hometown Country, now it's Hometowns Jam.
Hometown Jams is the brand.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome.
That's the concert brand.
Yeah.
And it was Hometown Country Jam, but then I was thinking, now I'm locked into country. And I love country music. That's where all my connections are right now.
Right.
But how can I grow this in the future?
Right.
Now I'm stuck to just one genre. Whereas if I go to Hometown Jams, I can bring in AC/DC one day, you know, you can bring in the rock bands or, you know, contemporary.
Yeah.
There's a lot more opportunity down the road.
It makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. And what I love now is, Tyrus, you have an incredibly exciting show coming. Back to the Bricky Bowl, but you're not done there. Like, you're teasing us with great shows before and after, and I know you're already working on deals for the late summer and fall.
Yeah.
Like, and it's hard. I remember being at one particular. First of all, every show, Joe Diffie. I didn't know I was a Joe Diffie fan. You were putting on you and the art, and now I know you're reaching out to other communities. But like the Uncle Kracker show, the sound, these guys, you are bringing top tier Nashville pop talent, whoever, Tyrus, like no holds barred. You are bringing great shows to the region, and if you have not experienced, I'm just talking to the listener right now. If you have not cashed in on the experience of one of these shows, just invest in one, and you're going to be hooked like I am.
Mm-hmm. And that's what we make our goal and our motto is. We want to put on a show that's better than anywhere else in the area, in the Midwest. That's our goal, is to put on. When people walk into one of our shows, they know it's a Flight Levelz entertainment show. And if they walk into a show at the same venue on a different day that we're not doing, they can tell the difference.
Yeah.
So
That's my goal.
Because I'm following your Facebook pages and stuff now, that's how I was able to tell that, now there's different shows at the Art. Now there's different shows at all these other venues. Yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, holy cow, man, this guy's he's doing a lot more than what I thought it was just one time a year. Now he's bringing shows.
Started as
that.
Year.
Yeah, I love what you're doing.
Well, I mean, you think about it, is the more shows you put on, you're creating a bigger melting pot of people to promote back to.
Yeah.
The more and more people who know your brand, the more and more people who buy tickets. These are people you hope will come back in the future, which just increases your ticket sales and increases people coming to the communities. You know, I mean, the more shows I put on in Northwest Indiana, the more people are gonna, who've never been to downtown Hobart, are gonna come to Hobart and go, there's a lot more here than I ever realized. And now our local businesses are thriving, you know. Or when I'm doing shows in Valpo, people who may not have been to downtown Valpo, you know, there's a lot that goes into this that people don't even think about, that are going to benefit the community in one way or another.
Oh, yeah. He's giving back. And one of the things I want to say, like, first of all, Tyrus, I have the names here of who's coming to this next show, who you're bringing to the Bricky Bowl, to this massive, like, think of Burning Man. Think of things that you've seen stages like that you just, like, you're like, wow. Yeah, think of the Tweeter Center or whatever they're calling it these days. Like a world-class stage is coming again to the Bricky Bowl. And who do you got coming, Tyrus?
So Lee Bryce is headlining the festival on
You
June
guys,
5th.
Lee Bryce.
All right.
Turn on US 99. In 11 minutes, you're going to hear 5 Lee Bryce songs.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's the real deal, right? So you've got Lee Bryce. You've got Dylan Schneider.
Dylan Schneider, and then his with Julia Cole,
Cole.
who's been taken off lately. It's got her at the right time. And then Lee's brother, Lewis Bryce, which is really cool.
Whose music I like a lot. If you I love, whenever I see someone you're bringing, I love to do a little research and see who you're bringing and why you're bringing them. Some of those bands I already know, some of them I don't. But I look up Lewis Bryce, and he's got this vibe. You guys, this show is going to be incredible. One of the other things you do is you pick a local artist, Tyrus, who's making original music, and you help. See, here you are giving back again, right, to somebody who's grinding. And this year you picked Johnny James, who, by the way, has been on the mental edge. Why? Because we're watching him work his tail off, and he deserves this spot more than anybody. And I love that you're doing that, because because a lot of people are hitting you up, and I know you love cover bands too, but you're trying to make a point. Yeah, you're looking for an up and comer.
Oh, I mean, we receive hundreds of messages a month. I mean, just from all over. And that's not to say I don't read them. I actually do. I read when someone sends me an email. I read and I look into them and see if there's someone who could fit.
Another thing that sets him apart from everybody else.
Yeah, he's reading.
So I do my research, but I'm also very stingent about that. I'm very strict about who I will let open for one of my shows. And original music is key because, like Jay said, cover bands are great. Everyone loves cover bands. They love singing along to the songs that they know, but a cover band will always be a cover band. they will never be on the radio, right? They'll never make that next step because they're singing other people's songs. And people love them. They do really good in local areas and even touring around a little bit. They do.
Sure.
But I want to give someone the shot who's taking the chance on their own music, who's taking the risk, because that's, with risk comes reward, right?
With risk comes reward, right?
So that's what I look for, is artists who are making their own music, and who have a following on their own music. That's another key, is a lot of people make their own music, but do people like it? Yeah. Do they have a following on their own music?
See, I mean, he's got to do research on the local artists too, right?
Yeah, I always say that, like just because you like something, right? That and it might be good, but ultimately society and culture lets you know how good it really is.
People outside of your mama.
Yeah, people outside of your immediate house will let you know. Okay,
and I struggle with that sometimes, because I'll listen to an artist that I really want to book. I love them. They sound awesome. They're one of my favorite bands, but I know they're not going to sell tickets.
Yeah.
And I can't book an artist who's not going to sell tickets.
No.
Sure.
So I struggle with that all the time. I have to step outside of what I like, when I'm booking artists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, for example, like Jay mentioned, Joe Diffie, rest in peace. He was an awesome guy.
Okay.
But I was never a Joe Diffie music fan growing up. I didn't know any of his music, and I know he was an old-time country artist, but I knew people loved him.
They did.
I didn't love his music because I'd never heard it before, but I knew that he would sell tickets.
Yeah.
So I booked him, and I ended up falling in love with his music at the show. It was amazing. But I was not a fan going in.
Yeah.
But I took a chance and said, I think this guy's going to sell tickets.
Even he got
and he
converted.
did.
Yeah.
And
Even Tyrus
it's
got
sad
converted. That's
because
really cool.
that was one of his last shows he did before he died. Was actually here in Hobart.
Wow.
And it makes it even sadder, as I remember talking to him after the show as he was getting back on the bus, and I was like, hey Joe, like how'd it go? Did you enjoy it? He goes, man, it was awesome. I can't wait to come back.
Wow.
Yeah. Have you heard that from a lot of artists, Tyrus? You bring them in and they do a Flight Levelz entertainment show.
Oh,
what do they
love
say?
It. They love it. They can't wait to come back to the region, and they know the region's tough. It's a tough market because of the Chicago market. It's like the stepbrother to Chicago. But a lot of them, after they come here, they want to make it work. They want to find a way to come back.
Yeah, that's really cool.
It's weird because I'm like torn, Tyrus. I want it to stay a secret, but I want you to keep blowing up because I want to keep cashing in on the great show. And what I love about the Northwest Indiana is you're going to get this show that you'd have to go to Chicago for, but you're going to get none of the big city hassle.
Yeah.
Zero. You're going to walk to your car at the end of the show, get in it, and drive home. You will never be in line. Well, maybe one day, but right now, never be in line.
In a few years, when this thing really blows up, I mean,
right.
like, hey, where's Jay? And they're like, oh, he's carrying some bags over there because he wants to get backstage.
Yeah, right. I'm pretending to work for the video. Yeah, that's funny.
That's really cool, though.
Yeah,
Man. I'm excited. I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, you got to
It'll
come
be a
to
lot
some
of
of
fun.
these shows.
Yeah. This is gonna be good stuff, man.
So the next show coming up, though, you're warming us up.
First one, it's kind of a teaser show in a way to kind of get people excited again about live music and prove to people that we can do live music safely.
Genius.
That's the whole goal of this first show back. But I should say that's the whole goal, but this band's awesome. The Steelwoods are like one of the coolest, best sounding live bands I've ever heard in my life.
Wow.
So I've always wanted to bring them here, and I just thought this was a perfect time to kind of get the market rolling again, get people thinking again, get people excited again.
That's coming to the art.
Yeah.
That's
3 weeks.
And I have to say something, though. Shane Evans, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's killing it. Like Tyrus recognized, because Tyrus knows sound, right? Yeah. He goes in there, he sees what Shane's doing. He's like, we're bringing bands to this place because this guy is sinking money into this place, and the shows are great. And what is Tyrus is bringing a real deal Southern rock band, guys. This is the show. Like, if you like crunchy guitars and you like that style of music, you're gonna love this band. Wow. Yeah, it's gonna be great.
They're awesome. Yeah, I remember first going into the art. So the Arts had a couple different owners over the years, and I remember just seeing pictures of it and just going, it's not ready yet. Yeah. It's not ready for that next step. It's not ready for big shows because they don't have whether it's the sound, the lights, the production, whatever it is. I was like, it's not ready. And then Shane took over, and I saw him just start dumping money into it. Things started changing, lights started going up, sound started blasting, and I'm like, okay, it's ready.
Cool.
Yeah, and
So,
kudos to him. He's a former musician, right? He's a drummer, so he got it.
Yeah, Shane knew what he was doing going in. Wow. He was the right owner for that place.
Was he part of a band too?
Yeah.
He's made things.
Funny story about him. I think he was telling me about a story of a band whose drummer got sick that he had booked, and he went up there and played the drums during the show.
He could totally do it. I've seen Shane play live. He's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
so-
little brother did that. He was.
Oh, I believe it.
He was a groupie for one of his favorite bands in high school, but he knew all the songs because he was always
That was
practicing at
convenient,
home.
right?
Yeah, and he used to go set the drums up for the actual drummer.
Yeah,
And
he's the intern.
he knew exactly how the guy liked his drums. One day the drummer didn't show up, and they put him on, and next thing you know, he's with them full
They're like,
time.
hey, Mike, you're fired. This kid's great.
Yeah. So
It's funny how that happens in life.
Gabriel did that. So that was
Strike him
awesome.
when the iron's hot. Right,
Yeah.
Tyrus?
Strike
That
it
seems to
when
be a
the
current
Never,
theme.
you never know when your opportunity is going to come.
Yeah.
You just don't. You don't know.
And you're ready for it.
You always have to be ready.
That's cool,
Yeah.
man.
So you can.
You always got to be locked and loaded for when it's going to happen, and you got to be patient too.
Absolutely brilliant.
I mean, there's so many times where I really
that's
really
good
want to book
advice,
this
Tyrus.
artist. I want to get him now, but you know what? They may be too expensive right now, or
Wow.
the routing might not line up. But if I was, got crazy and was like, oh, I just want him so bad, I'm going to spend all this money, and then you lose, major because that's not profitable. That's not going to work.
Yeah.
So you got to be patient, locked and loaded for the right time comes.
Yeah.
So you not only are you, in love with music, bringing these shows, but you have to have a good business sense because we want this to last, Tyrus, and you make those business decisions that make sense for longevity and growth. Longevity and growth. And when are the Steelwoods coming?
April 8th, Thursday.
April 8th. You guys, right around the corner. Yeah.
I want to add to that too is he does take risk though.
Yeah.
You have to. You have to take risk.
And some of it doesn't sound like it's super calculated to everyone else, but he's done the research.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's put in the plan.
Every
That's really
show
cool.
that I do, I have a budget built out before I ever put in an offer and know exactly how much I can pay this artist, how much tickets are going to be. You have to have a calculation going into everything you do.
Sure.
Everything's calculated risk. Because if you just are all about risk,
Yeah.
but it's not calculated, well, that's how you get in trouble. You got to have a safety net. It's like a stop loss in the stock market.
Yeah, I like that, man.
I love the way you're poised to come out of COVID,
Yes.
Tyrus.
Yes.
See, another thing is more market potential because you're ready, okay, and you're ready to grow, and there couldn't be a better time, Tyrus. And I think it's gonna mean a lot for you because you're gonna be prepared because you're making your own mental 85-page way of keeping people safe. And I want people, if you go to these shows, listen, we gotta have live music back, guys. So we gotta respect these rules. Yes, we miss people. I love them. I want to hug them. I get it. But whatever's going on there, please, guys, enjoy yourself. But don't just think about it as following rules. Think about it as you're sewing into live music coming back.
Right.
So we've got to keep these behaviors going for a little bit longer. And if it's contingent, for music coming back, I'm going to embrace those rules.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Definitely.
Yeah, it was never coming out of COVID, it's never going to be, just one day it's like, all right, things are normal. Everything's normal. It was never going to happen.
Right.
As much as people wish, and I wish it was like that, it's just not. No. That's not realistic. So it's going to be gradual, a gradual process, and that's why we are doing, reduced capacity show. I'd love to put 10,000 people in the Bricky Bowl.
Yeah.
But I can't.
Yeah.
We just can't right now. But I can put 3,000 in there, and I can make a show work like that.
So you only have a certain amount of tickets.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Right now, and they're going quick.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be close to being sold out, Tyrus.
Yeah, I think the Lee Bryce show is about 80% sold out right now.
Guys, you got to get the tickets for this show. You're not going to get an opportunity to be in a crowd this small. You're going to miss out on an opportunity if you don't go to this show.
Yeah.
Right? It's not going to be this intimate. You're going to be rubbing elbows in the next 5 years, because it's coming back full force. Yeah. And there's going to be 10,000 people in that. It can fit 10,000 people.
We can put 10,000 people
It's
in the Bricky
coming.
Bowl.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy
So, and that's another
I didn't realize
mistake,
that,
actually thinking about another mistake that a lot of people have made over the past is, so while I went big right away, I also didn't go crazy big. There's a lot of people who their first shows, they'll go book Tim McGraw. Some major artist who's almost $1 million. Yeah. And if you haven't built your crowd, if you haven't built your reputation, it's hard to make money on that. And you could lose out big. Yeah. So while we did take a risk at the beginning. It was also a calculated risk. We didn't go with the biggest and best artist, or I shouldn't say best, biggest and most popular artist at that time. We went with a mid-level artist, So, because we knew we were probably going to lose money on the first show, but how do we minimize our loss while still putting ourselves in an opportunity to grow
and delivering.
And I mean, let's be realistic. These people, some of these, I feel bad for the artists right now, guys. Tyrus, you're not just bringing it back for the people of the region. The artists need you. Yeah. We got to throw shows. This is the only way these guys make money anymore. If you guys think that people are making a bunch of money from streaming music or from selling music, I'm sorry, the industry's changed. These people have to grind. They have to play. That's how they make their money now.
It's the only way they make money.
That's right.
And that's why they're not cheap anymore. They used to be, you could get an artist on a really good deal back in the day because they knew they were making all their money on records. Yeah. They just wanted to tour and be out there. It's not the case anymore. They have to make money on the road. So it's not cheap to bring them in.
So the old model, your show was your commercial for your music. The new model is your song that you put out for free is the commercial for your show. Yeah. And there's going to be a good show put on here. Well, a couple coming up. So we've got Steelwood we already mentioned. The hometown, is this one going to be called the Country Jam or just a hometown jam?
We'll keep the one day, or hopefully in the future it'll be a multi-day festival, but we're working our way up. So it'll still be the hometown country jam that we'll do at the beginning of June every year. Actually, it'll be the week after Memorial Day. That's kind of our weekend that we've kind of solidified in. And then outside of that, we're just going to keep growing and doing more and more shows. My ultimate goal is to do multiple shows at the Bricky Bowl every year. Yeah. Long term, and make it a place where major artists are going to stop. Because 10,000 people, you can bring major artists in with that capacity. That's crazy, right? But even though once a Bricky, always a Bricky, there's other venues in Northwest Indiana now. Yeah. There's other live music venues that are like, hey, you want to work together? And who do you got coming to Valparaiso? So we got Eli Young Band coming to...
Eli Young Band is coming
Central
to Valparaiso.
Yeah. He's sharing the love throughout the region. Yeah. So it's not
it's just expanding the footprint, I mean, think about it. So if you expand into Valpo, well, now you're selling the tickets to people in Valpo who are going to see your shows in Hobart. And then they're going to come to your shows in Hobart. Or you're selling tickets in Valpo to people in Hobart. Now they're going to come to Valpo. I mean, you got just a big melting pot of people mixing throughout the region.
Yeah. Awesome, huh, Junior?
I love the way the patience also played out into the game that he's playing here. The chess pieces are moving, but he's like, oh, yeah, exactly what he said. Yeah. I want this demographic, but he had to wait. This is what, year 3?
Mm-hmm. We've been. Yeah, I mean, we lost a year, but yeah.
But still, you never stop planning.
No,
never stop planning. You didn't stop planning. If it's one thing I've learned from this episode,
I know, right? I know, Tyrus, you've dropped a ton of nuggets.
Yeah, man. Ton of information, man.
This crazy. Relates to so much, right? People who were starting their own business, like they had this romantic idea. So you have to be very comfortable. Tyrus has been very uncomfortable, guys. Yeah. In his grind, it's not been a hiatus of beauty. It's been brutal, right? Because he has a grand vision and
it's the iceberg motto. Yeah. Bottom. You don't see the bottom of the iceberg. That's 90% of it. You just see the tip.
That's it. Mm-hmm. So I'm just gonna revert real quick back to like baseball era, Tyrus. Working in that group and. How long before you guys got good, right?
Well, we've been playing together since we were 9 years old. Yeah. I would say we. So
your freshman year, you guys went downstate?
No. So
that's the point I'm trying to get at. There was a level of like patience also, right? Yeah. And a level of work ethic that even though you didn't go downstate your freshman year, man, you guys like kept chunking away. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of like
they started getting their heads beat in at about what, 12?
Yeah. No, 9.
9 years old.
We started travel ball when we were like 9 years old. Yeah. And we weren't very good, but we all stuck together and became very good throughout travel ball, and then into high school, and then it was like, I think we had like 7 or 6 or 7 seniors starting our senior year who had all been playing together since we were 9 years old.
Wow. Right.
So, awesome. It was just like, it was a family. There's no other, I can't think of another group that can even compare to what we had just, on the
even beyond
bonding
baseball.
level.
Yeah, even beyond
at that time. And those lessons I see have kind of converted into you with your fellow pilots and everything that you kind of put your hands on, you take those lessons and you continue to bring those.
Well, that's why our sports are so important, in my opinion, because it's so much. Sports are like 1% of what it actually does for you as a person. Okay. And I tell Glover, who was our head varsity coach, all the time how thankful I am for the mentality that they instilled in us, that mentality of being great. I never want to do anything and not be great. I mean, that's pointless to me. I'm not just going to go through the motions. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to go big. Yeah. So they instilled in us, since we were freshmen, that you guys are going to be great. And we were.
Hearing that, they spoke it into him. Yeah. Right? Yeah. They spoke it into him. That's probably how he talks to his team, even though those team members, they've subscribed to the same philosophy. Yeah. He sees value in that. Tyrus, you are great, and you're just getting started. Okay. You got any cool questions for him, Junior, to close out the show?
I'd love to rapid fire questions.
Rapid fire some, Dan. These are fun. This is an awesome little segment Junior likes to do.
I'm gonna let you know right now. I had a couple just because I'm interested because you're a pilot, so I kind of catered.
Yeah.
And I like to preface by saying that any of these questions could be changed tomorrow because it's only in the now moment that I want the answer.
These answers are not the opinions of the Mental Edge podcasters.
Yeah. So we'll start. Are we good? Can I start?
Go on, get him.
All right. Use one word to describe how you feel when you take off on a plane, which I think we already know. But
euphoric.
Yep, I knew it. That was awesome. Yeah. And some of these you probably already answered. But do you binge on Netflix? If so, what episodes?
My favorite one was I can't think of the name of it right now. Money Heist.
Money Heist?
And you know why I love that show? Is because the intense planning that went behind that guy's plan. It was insane.
It's like Ocean's 11 or whatever.
I love good business. Like when I see somebody in business do something that works, I'm like, holy smokes, man. I'm like addicted to how they did it because it works so well. I love seeing things come together. So that show, Money Heist, this guy had this insane, crazy, elaborate plan that worked like to a T, and I loved it.
They showed it through the show. That's awesome, man. Last meal on Earth, what would you be eating?
Chicken Alfredo.
Favorite dessert?
Cheesecake.
Nice. Any particular kind? Have you had
I'm a plain person.
The free one. I know Tyrus. The free one.
The free one. There's a Hobart Whitefields cheesecake. If you haven't had it,
know that.
Yeah, shouts out to.
Actually, I think I've had them. They go to some of the markets, the summer markets.
Yeah, check it out.
He's awesome.
I love cheesecake.
He's a good guy. All right, if you could have any superpower.
Mind reading.
Man, that's a pretty common answer.
Yeah. All right. Do you believe that water always finds its level? Example. See, it's finding its level.
We're going deep right now, Tyler.
Does water always find its level?
I'm going to say yes, because I think the world balances out one way or another. Okay. I think everything works out one way or another.
All right, cool. What advice would you give your 12-year-old self?
When he was 12, I asked him for advice.
Yeah, I mean...
That's good stuff.
Probably the best advice would be... I don't know. Don't change anything. Just keep grinding. You know. I mean,
that's cool. I like it.
Everything. When I look back, I've been very fortunate, and I mean everything. Even though I went through a lot of dark times, during my life. Whether there's plenty of instances where life's not all roses. You know, but when I look back, I'm like, man, if I didn't go through that, there's no way I'd be where I'm at today. No way.
I hope people heard that.
So looking back, I'm happy I went through those rough times. So I wouldn't change anything.
Yeah, there's a word picture that some people use where they'll take a rubber band and stretch the rubber band, right? And then you let go of the rubber band and the rubber band's larger than it was before you stretched it, right? So you can't grow if you don't stretch or if you're not stretched.
That doesn't happen in the female anatomy.
All right, so that's why this is a guy's show. So, all right, happiest memory to date. Or today.
Happiest memory to date would be, well, I haven't been married yet, so I can't say that.
Ooh, coming up.
That's coming up.
Is it?
In September.
Yeah.
So in
Who's
September, Crystal.
Crystal.
So in September, I'll say that.
Okay.
But and I haven't had a kid yet, so I can't say that.
Can't say that.
Probably.
I like the way you preface
Yes,
it.
those things are going to take the place of what I'm about to say.
I told you, this is just today. Go ahead.
It's probably the first time I took off in a jet. When I first became an airline pilot. Because it was like a lifelong dream come true. You know.
I did forget to ask this earlier. This is not on the quick questions, but like, so you're in a flight simulator a lot, and maybe the little planes. So you're talking about the very first jet.
Very first time I became an airline pilot.
Gotcha.
You know?
All right.
Because a motto I always had in life was some people work when they're young.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, some people party when they're young and work the rest of their life, and others work when they're young and party the rest of their life. So I was finally getting to party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He lives the life of a mullet.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Business in the front. And
Party in the back.
Party later on, right? Do you have a biggest fear? Obviously, it's not heights.
Honestly, probably the dark.
Yeah.
Downtime.
I don't like the dark.
The boy don't like no downtime.
Because I always want to know what's going on around me. I'm always analyzing what's going on around me. And if you're in the dark, you don't know what's going on around you.
Yeah.
So I don't like it. I want to see what's going on. I want to know what's going on. I want to understand it. I always want to understand everything.
Yeah.
It bugs me when I don't understand things.
I feel like he's saying that there's two ways he's saying. There's probably multiple ways you're saying that, but that's a really awesome
think about
answer.
that. Like being the master of the why.
Yeah.
Is huge.
Yeah.
And he always is seeking the reason why and how and why.
Yep.
And that's why I struggled so much during COVID, because there was no answers. Yeah. Nobody knew what was going on. Everything in my life was taken away. Yeah. Flying was taken away. My concerts were taken away. It all was gone. Yeah. So, and I didn't know why. Yeah. And I didn't have the answers. And I couldn't fix it. There was nothing I could do about it. So you're just sitting there twiddling your fingers.
Something you couldn't prepare for, Tyrus.
There was finally something that really derailed me off of everything that was happening.
Wow. All right. Can you do any impressions?
No. Nothing, man. I can't do it.
I know, not one person.
All right. Yeah. Flat Earth or round Earth?
Oh, I'm a pilot.
That's why I want to know. Only point
I can see the bend on the horizon.
Yeah, I can see the bend.
You can see the bend. All right, cool. And then let's see what we got here. I'm almost to the end here. Funniest thing you've ever read or heard about yourself?
Oh. I can't quote this exactly, but like Jay said, when I first started this concert stuff, there was a lot of doubters. And one of the funniest things I ever read, because I read it all, I see it.
Yeah, we've made that clear.
Hey, buttholes, he read that comment.
Because that's the funny thing, people don't realize, like when they email Hometown Country Jam or Hometown Jams or write a comment, I'm the one who emails them back. It comes from
that person hasn't been hired yet.
It comes from info@hometownjams.com, but it's me.
It's you, yeah.
So funny.
So I read all the Facebook comments, I read all the emails and respond to them all. But I think one of the funniest things, I can't think of the show, but someone commented about my name. Like it was a newspaper article, and he goes, "This guy sounds like he, what's that show? Parks and Recreation.
Yeah.
What's the guy? What's the Indian guy?
What he's I know what you're talking about, but go ahead.
He said my name sounds like something he would say. Or something off Parks and Recreation. And I was like, that's good
stuff, man. That's funny. All right. This is a little more serious. Person you'd like to have coffee with. Dead or alive, it doesn't matter.
Elon Musk.
Oh, yeah, I knew you were going to say
That's
that.
twice.
Yeah.
He mentioned earlier, remember, that people that don't follow the rules, and if you can think, and it's the same thing Chris Malman said.
Yeah.
He said Elon Musk. He's like, there are people that break the rules and it counts for them, and that's one of them. That's great.
I'm fascinated with SpaceX and everything that's going on. He's changing the world, changing how we live, and it's amazing. It's crazy. So I'd love to talk with that guy.
All right. I got last question. All right. So to be, if you left this life right now, if you left Earth, you were gone, and you had a chance to write 3 words on a paper. That was the only thing that you're going to leave behind. It's 3 words on a piece of paper. What would those 3 words be?
Oh, this is just like that PowerPoint in the back of the room.
Let's see how fast he is. Yeah, I could change tomorrow, man. You're good.
Believe in yourself.
Believe
in yourself.
Yourself.
Oh my goodness.
That is awesome, Tyre.
See, I went to Lake Station. I thought yourself was 2 words.
It's one word, man.
And that was awesome.
That is so awesome, Tyrus.
I love that. Believe in yourself, which is really encompasses everything that we just talked about. Because Tyrus, man, you exemplify. This is what you do. You do believe in yourself, and it shows. And this is why you've had the success that you've had. And I can't wait to do an interview in the future when you've already lived the life of 6 other guys.
Yeah, when we have to contact your agent.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm the guy that's like bugging the heck out of the email. Little boy, I know it's him answering you back. Nah, not today.
Hey, info, I know who you are.
That's how I'm sending it off. Info, I know you read this.
That's so, Tyrus. This was one of the this 70 or 60 minutes went so fast because this conversation was incredible. And I can't wait to hear what people are going to say. Yeah. Because they're going to love some of the things you talked about because you don't shy away from hard work. It's a principle we keep talking about. The answer, guys, isn't rest.
No.
So everybody who's selling you this concept that you can get rich overnight and that you don't have to do
passive
anything.
Income.
7-minute ab lifestyle. It's nothing of what this young man's doing.
No.
I'll never forget the funny story about that, actually. We were on vacation in Florida.
Okay.
And I'm a kind of person where, like, if I have to do something, I have to get it done. I can't go to sleep, not get that done. Okay. So we were on vacation in Florida, and it came to my mind that I messed up my budgeting sheet. So I stayed up till like 4 a.m. fixing my budgeting sheet while we're in Florida.
Wait, how old are you?
This was like a couple of years ago.
Okay,
yeah.
Jeez,
Yeah, it was once. It was the concert stuff.
All right.
And
All right.
I stayed up till 4 a.m. fixing this budgeting sheet, and we got to wake up at 7 to go to the parks. I mean, I was just terrible. I was dead. But I just had to. I couldn't sleep not finishing that.
Makes sense,
Plenty of time to sleep when you're dead.
That's it.
Right?
I say that all the time.
That's right.
Yeah.
So this was awesome, Tyrus. And the way we finish it is we say who we are like we did in the beginning. And then in the end, after Junior kills it and says, "This has been the Mental Edge Podcast," you're going to say, "We out." Because everyone who's ever been on the show has said "we out." It's going to be hard to beat Pastor Combs because he killed it when he said "we out."
Yeah.
But, so this is how it's going to go. My name is Jay Wakasey.
I'm Fernando Lopez Jr.
Tyrus Joseforsky.
This is the Mental Edge Podcast.
We out. We out. We out. We out. We out. We out.